Well, hi there, brave friends. Today, I'm sharing an extra special interview with you. We don't normally have 2 episodes in 1 week, but when I had the opportunity to interview today's guest, Arlan Hamilton, I jumped at it. In fact, my partner found out about it on Twitter and came running into the room and said, "Oh my God, you've got to get this interview scheduled right away." I didn't even know what I was in for, and I'll bet you don't either. But if you don't know who Arlan Hamilton is, get ready to be awed. Arlan built a venture capital fund from the ground up while homeless. She's the founder and managing partner of a company called Backstage Capital. It's a fund that's dedicated to minimizing funding disparities in tech by investing in high potential founders who are people of color, women, and LGBTQ people. Fast Company magazine described her as equal parts self-aware and unapologetic. They said that Hamilton knows that she stands out. She's the only Black queer woman to ever build a venture capital firm from scratch. Now Arlan has written an action-oriented book, part memoir, part business book called It's About Damn Time: How to Turn Being Underestimated into Your Greatest Advantage. And she joins us today to talk about her brave journey. I'm so excited to share this conversation with you. Oh, and if you're ready to follow Arlan's footsteps and step into your own brave, join us over at our free Facebook community, Brave on Purpose. You'll find a link in the show notes or simply search Brave on Purpose when you're in Facebook and you'll find us. I cannot wait to see you there.
Audacious, unconventional, and motivating.
This is Heather Vickery, and you're listening to The Brave Files, stories from people living courageously. When we choose bravely in big and small ways, it powerfully elevates our lives. I hope these stories connect with you and encourage you to embrace bravery in every possible way, day after day. Together, we can build a movement of courageous living that enriches both our lives and our communities. And if you enjoy the show, I ask you to please share it with others. Maybe think of someone who you want to choose bravely right alongside you. Thanks for tuning in. Now here's the show. Hey, everybody. This is Heather Vickery. Welcome to this very special episode of the Brave Files podcast. We normally release on Thursdays, but we had an exciting opportunity to welcome someone special. And so we're going to do this little side podcast episode for you. I am delighted to introduce you to Arlan Hamilton. So she's a venture capitalist, and you're listening to that and thinking, gosh, Heather, that doesn't sound like somebody you would normally have on the Brave Files. But wait until you hear her incredible story. In 2015, Arlan, a gay Black woman, was on food stamps and sleeping on the floor of the San Francisco airport. She is now raising funds and supporting minority businesses, has written an incredible memoir, and is kicking ass. Arlan, welcome to the Brave Files.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, really looking forward to this. So give our listeners just a quick background. We'll stick to what we normally do here on the show, but tell folks, kind of how you went from essentially homeless and hungry to all of the incredible things. I mean, when people read your stuff and see all the fan support you have from celebrities, like, this is incredible.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just less than 5 years ago, I was sleeping on the floor of the San Francisco airport. I still think about that. It still blows my mind. And I was on food stamps, had a lot of housing insecurity. I'm in my late 30s now, and I felt like I should have been much further along at the time. But, circumstances happen. And in that time, I never lost any of my curiosity, and I never lost any of that motivation to do something big. And I found out about startups and Silicon Valley and the venture capital space, all of those things together at the same time, because I wanted to start a company, just simply wanted to start a tech company. And once I started doing a lot of research about it, I was just like, okay, let me learn what the investors know so that when I go and ask for money, I'll know what they know. And what I found out was that more than 90% of all venture capital money goes to straight white men.
Of course.
And that doesn't make any sense, right? They're they're less than a third of the U.S. population, and they're getting more than almost all of the capital for innovative funding for tech companies and beyond. Things like that we use, like Airbnb and Google and Apple, all the things we use on a day-to-day basis. is all going into the pockets of one type of person.
Yeah.
And I had all sorts of people in my life, and the straight white men in my life didn't think it was fair either. You know what I mean? And so it kind of set me on this path to what would it look like if someone like me, who was a Black gay woman from Texas, who had no background, no network in that world, in that Silicon Valley world, what would it look like if I were able to write checks? Would the people getting checks start to look different? And would that change things for the better? And so that's the thesis I set out on. And I knocked on doors for several years and got nothing. And then one day, a woman named Susan Kimberlin, who is an angel investor in Silicon Valley, September 15th, 2015, said yes. She gave me my first yes to this.
That is awesome.
And when she put that money behind me, I was off to the races, and I never looked back.
That is incredible. And you have, my understanding, I've done some research, and we actually had a woman on the show almost 2 years ago now who does crowdsource funding. I don't know if you've met Shelley Bell. Do you know Shelley Bell from Black Girl Ventures?
No, I don't know her personally.
Okay.
Black Girl Ventures.
So I learned from her that most of the new businesses being started in the country are Black women. And then, of course, as you said, the least funded. And so you did have that experience. I would like to know what it felt like. You got that check, and then you were off to the races, and you haven't looked back, and you're doing all this incredible stuff. But do you ever think about what that moment felt like?
I think about it all the time, because in the moment when I got the yes, I didn't go out and immediately celebrate. You know, I didn't go out and just take a break and say, oh, let me go think about what the last few years of my life it have been like. I said, I have been waiting for several years. I have been talking to founders who I want to invest in, and now I'm on my way. So let me start. Let me go. I was ready. I was prepared. Yeah. And I just, in that moment, so I think about it now because I don't think I ever really processed it in the moment. Yeah. I kind of feel like about a year behind of all my emotion, if that makes sense. Like, sure, it'll hit me about a year later, even good stuff. Like, it'll hit me a year later. So when I'm, for instance, on the cover of Fast Company in 2018, I don't feel that until late last year. And I realized, wait a minute. You were on the cover of a magazine that you used to look at the airport when you couldn't afford, you know? And so, I think about it all the time. At the time, it did feel, I felt great pride, and a good form of pride. I felt like, okay, I got myself here. I'm supposed to be here. Let's go. Let's see what we can make happen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love that you said it. One of the questions that I was going to ask you towards the end of the conversation, but I'll ask now because it fits, is how do you like to celebrate? And what I just heard you say was, it's like delayed celebration. And I'm wondering if now that you're aware of that, if it has shifted for you and if you're prioritizing feeling the good things as they happen versus pushing through them because you're so eager to get to the next thing.
Yeah, I definitely have evolved a lot in my thinking and what I like to espouse. I definitely take in the moment. I still don't spend a lot of time celebrating, though, and that's not for any other reason, but that I find enjoyment from execution, and from impact. And celebrating to me, I'm kind of dorky, you know. So celebrating for me is like, let me have a caramel cupcake delivered to my house and pay the $7 delivery fee.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like that to me is like celebration. I'll do that. I also like, I don't know. I enjoy celebrating with the founders, like when we're able, because it's not easy. It's not like I got that first money and then it's just been easy. It's been 5 more years of uphill battle and lost things and gained things. And so each time we're able to make my team and I are able to make another $25K, $50K, $100K investment, that's a big deal for us. Yeah, so we will celebrate with the founder and just take in the moment. And I think that's very important to do, because you spend your life waiting to celebrate. You're gonna get to the end of it and look back and really regret that, I think.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I love the cupcake thing, because people always want to answer with some sort of a big fancy meal, or we'll pop a bottle of champagne, and that's fine. But I think those smaller celebrations that in the moment, like, oh, I did this good thing and sharing it with others. I celebrate
Yeah.
with a dance party pretty regularly. So
Yeah.
I
Very
love
cool.
that. Yeah. I am sure that there have been a number of moments full of strife and struggle. And I know that if we pick up a copy of your new memoir, It's About Damn Time, which I love the title, we're going to read about that. But I would love for you to share with us maybe an unexpected silver lining through all of it, other than being able to help the founders, but something that you didn't anticipate that just was great, that felt amazing.
I think honestly, it's just seeing other people do things after they hear about my story. That's honestly, and that's what I'm most excited about with this book. It's About Damn Time. The reason I wrote it is because one of the reasons I wrote it is
It's
because I
about
wanted
damn
to.
time.
Yeah, it was about damn time for me. Right? But I wrote it because I was like, I know what happens. Like when I go and speak somewhere, or when someone reads about me and they get in touch with me and they send me these amazing messages or talk to me in person. There's an empowerment that they feel that now that they have this sort of permission that I didn't need to give them, by the way. I
That's
did not.
exactly right.
But they feel that they say, you know what, let me try something. And so just seeing the different types of people who just kind of come up to me or write to me and say, I read about you in this thing, or I saw you speak here. And then I started this other company. It has nothing to do with venture capital, but it's this other thing that I've been wanting to do for 20 years. And I started it because I felt like I had that permission now. Those types of stories you can never get used to, or they never get old.
Yeah.
And so that byproduct of, I'm just trying to do this thing that I think is right to do. And so many people are so affected by it. That to me has really, really been amazing.
I love that. What I think that is for so many people, one of my favorite lines from Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime, is we can't dream of something we've never imagined.
Right.
And your story helps people imagine themselves in a role like that. So it kind of gave me chills. I love that. I think that is such a wonderful thing to consider a silver lining, like a great joy to see other people strive and reach for things that maybe they didn't imagine in the past. I would love to know what your writing process was like. We get a lot of authors on the show. And what was it like writing this book for you?
So it was my first book. I have a co-writer. Her name is Rachel Nelson. I've known her for 15 or so years. She lives in England. And we're just friends. She never wrote a book either. And
I love that.
A lot of people have ghostwriters or something, people who help them. And I didn't want it to be a ghostwriter situation. I wanted, if she was going to help me, she was going to help me and get she's on the front cover.
Nice. I see that.
Her name is on the cover. So she was there to help me stay organized and to help me kind of understand the things that were resonating with people the most, because sometimes you can't look at it yourself and say, oh, this is a thing that people really like about me or something, So she would kind of help me outline what I was going to talk about. Then for, I would say 60-70% of it, I would actually say out loud what I wanted to say. I'd have that transcribed, and then we go back and we put it into different places because I feel very comfortable speaking and writing. I like writing, but my schedule is so crazy that to sit down and write a book would have been really hard. So I would take 30 minutes here, 45 minutes there, and I would just sort of circle my rooms, pacing and or circle the office or something, and just record into my phone and get an idea out or tell a story, and we'd work on it together. And so it's really raw. It's really me. It's very transparent and open and vulnerable. And sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's just, I wanted people to walk away with, hey, what can I do next? Like, not just say, go out there and be the best you can be and try to tell them. I wanted to say, this is how I wrote 100 emails to these people, and this is how I wrote the email, and this is what I did, and this is what the results were, just to kind of really be the thing that I sought so much myself. And so, it's about that.
I love it. I love the title. I can't wait to read it. It's out today, May 5th. So everybody go grab your copy. I encourage you to find your local bookstore. And if we're still on pandemic lockdown, they will order and deliver. They will ship to you. So, support your local businesses.
Yeah, definitely. Indie bookstores are where it's at.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I love that. This show is all about stepping out of fear and into bravery, which I would like, doing what you've done. I can't I'll ask you, but I can't imagine that you weren't scared. What was it that pushed you into doing these brave things? And does it feel brave to you?
I don't think it feels brave. I know that it was difficult. So I'm able to see that. I'm able to like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't, don't put that on me. I definitely saw that it's different than what a lot of people have done and would have done. I see that. I see that it's been impactful in a good way and that people react in a very, very specific way about it. It's very intense. I don't know that it's brave because I don't really know what to compare it to. This is just what I thought was the right thing to do. I'm doing it. I face it for myself, but I mainly face it for other people. So I don't know. I don't think about it as bravery. I don't walk around saying, yes, I'm super brave, but I also don't shirk that responsibility because I don't think it's that false sort of modesty is very helpful to anybody.
Yeah, no.
So I just kind of look in the middle and say, it is what it is. I'm excited that it's affecting so many people and it's motivating so many people and that it actually really directly has helped so many people because of the investments I've been able to make.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our mission here. So I believe that when we choose bravely on purpose, when we know that we're doing a brave thing instead of living in fear, we choose bigger, we win bigger, and it's contagious. And I hear you saying that it's contagious.
Absolutely.
As a fellow member of the LGBTQ community, I'd like to thank you for helping to support and fund those of us who are starting businesses. How do people get the opportunity to work with you?
Yeah, so we've invested in about 130 companies in 4.5 years. So we take on each year we try to invest in 20 or 30 companies, and every penny of that is hard won. And this year is, as you can imagine, much even tougher than it has been, and that's been tough. So what we do is we review companies on a rolling basis. You can go to backstagecapital.com, go to the contact page, and there's all sorts of information about, depending on what your circumstances, how you can get in touch with us, how you can apply, how you can do different things. We like to be very accessible, even if we're not investing in that moment, because we're out trying to raise. We like to be very accessible. We have office hours that we have throughout the year where you can call into us, or you can go on a video and we talk to us, and we can help you with your company and talk to you about what's out there. And that to me is one of the coolest things that we do, is very open compared to a lot of venture capital funds.
Yeah, I love that. And just for anybody listening who's thinking about it, don't be afraid to try. Don't live in the fear like, oh, she's not going to like what I'm doing, or they're not going to want to invest in me. Put it out there.
Well, the thing is too, at the end of the book, I have an FAQ, frequently asked questions section. And I talk about, because people are saying, well, when should I look for investing? Or what is my company the type of company that should get a venture capital investment? I break it down in the FAQ. So you get the book, you read it, you read the FAQ, and by the time you finish my story and the actual answers to those questions, you'll be ready to know exactly which contact link you should be clicking on backstagecapital.com.
Perfect. I love that. I know so many of you out there listening are starting businesses or pivoting, especially right now with everything that's going on. So put yourself out there. Nothing risk, nothing gained on that.
Yes.
Arlan, I would love to know all of these changes for you, and this kind of sounds like a trite question, but it feels really important to me. How do you maintain caring for yourself and not, I know you're a go, go, go kind of person, but how do you practice self-care and make sure that you're not going so far down the rabbit hole that you have different problems than you had before you started?
Yeah, I hear you. It took me a long time to figure it out, but I haven't completely yet, but I'm closer. There's an entire section about self-care in the book because it's so important to me. And what I do, the takeaway is boundaries.
Yes, I love that you said that.
Yeah, boundaries
That's
of
what
time,
I teach.
boundaries of what I'm willing to do, yes and no. Someone said, I don't even know who said this, and I love the phrase, so I wish I knew who said it, but they said, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and I love that. That helps me kind of just figure out, do I really want to be doing this thing, or am I saying yes because I feel obligated? And that
Yes.
takes up your time is the most valuable thing that you have. It's the most valuable asset that exists, your time. And so learning the value of your time is a huge deal, and it goes towards self-care. So I know, for instance, that I like to finish the workday if I'm at home. I like to finish the workday at 6 p.m. Pacific so I can watch Rachel Maddow and yell at the
Nice.
TV
Nice.
for an hour. And so I can then watch General Hospital with my wife. This is how I like to. And
I
so
love that.
anything that's being booked after that, I'm probably going to say no to. And that those boundaries have helped me. Whereas, you can feel guilty for them, or you can decide, I'm going to be the best version of myself so I can be better for other people. And in order to do that, I need to refuel and I need to have time to myself.
I love that. You of course didn't know. We didn't plant that, folks. People who listen. So I'm a success and leadership coach, and I'm a public speaker, and boundaries is my topic, and for
Wonderful.
all the reasons that you said. So it's very exciting over here to hear you say that, and I love hearing celebrities. And I think we're going to go ahead and call it. You're officially a celebrity these days, telling people to create and maintain boundaries and how life-changing that is.
Yeah, I think it's important, and I'm so glad that you talk about it, Heather.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's my favorite topic, maybe other than my kids, but yeah, my favorite. All right, so as we get ready to wrap, I get to ask a question that's really impactful and important to me. What is your favorite charitable organization to support?
Oh, I have a few. There's one called Beats with a Z, The Streets, and they go out into LA, and so it's more local to me.
That's
and
okay.
They help feed, and mostly this is the part that I think is so exciting. They help. I'm big on dignity, and they go out and they do makeovers for people who are homeless. Now, with their hair, they wash their hair on the street. They have a whole setup. They color their hair in some cases if they feel it's safe for them. They do things, and then while they're doing it, they're showing them mirrors, and they're really lifting them up with what they're saying about how great they look and everything. And you just see people just turn like. That dignity is not afforded to them on a day-to-day basis. And so, of course, that's really close to my heart because I've had so much housing insecurity. And so I donate at least $1,000 per month to that. And that's just one of them. But yeah, I think that's a
incredible.
Really beautiful one.
Yeah, they're going to be one of our charity of the weeks this coming week.
Oh, amazing.
So
that's so
we'll
great.
Give them, thank you. So listeners, give them a little love, even if what you've got to offer is a social media like or a share or telling somebody else about it. I call upon you as a community every single week. We're in this together, and we only thrive when we do it together. So thank you so much for sharing that organization with us, Arlan.
Yes, wonderful.
Would you give us your 3 words one last time?
Audacious, unconventional, motivating.
Those are fantastic words. I particularly love audacious.
Thank you.
That's a big word that says a lot, and you seem to embody it. So I can't thank you enough for spending a few minutes with us. And I know that you're doing a huge press junket, so I feel really honored that I got a few minutes of your time. But I love what you're doing. I'm excited for your book. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, and I hope everybody enjoys It's About Damn Time.
Yeah, you guys go grab your copy right now. You can get it today. Order it. Like we said, try to support your indie bookstores if you can.
Yes, and it's available as an audio too, an ebook. So check that out if you want it right away, immediately.
Yeah. As a Kindle, is it also on audio, like where we can listen to you read it?
I read it.
That's awesome. That's quite an undertaking too.
Yeah, definitely.
That might be how I do it because I love to listen to memoirs.
Cool.
Versus reading them. So, folks, thank you so much for being here. Arlan, thank you for being here. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is Heather Vickery reminding each and every one of you to go out every single day and choose bravely. The Brave Files is proudly supported by Audible. If you enjoy listening to podcasts, you're sure to love listening to your favorite books on Audible. Get your free 30-day trial, complete with a credit for a free audiobook download today, simply by visiting audibletrial.com/thebravefiles. Again, that's visiting audibletrial.com/thebravefiles. You've been listening to The Brave Files, stories from people living courageously. To learn more about the show, find our show notes, or get some great bonus content, visit thebravefilespodcast.com. And we'd love to know what you think. You can give us a call at 312-646-0205. Let us know your thoughts on the episode, the show in general, or maybe share with us how you're out choosing bravely. This episode is brought to you by Vickery & Co. Success Coaching, coaching that helps you maintain a life well lived and a business well run. Learn more at vickeryandco.com. Our music is produced by Matt Lewis. Follow him on Instagram at mattmmusic or visit his website, theunionband.com. We couldn't do any of this without our extraordinary audio engineer, Andrew Olson. Learn more about him and check out his work at findandrewolson.com. And special thanks to our associate producer, Kim Statler. I'm your host and executive producer, Heather Vickery. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.